What's going on, guys? And happy New Year from Prosperous Financial, guys. We are in the new year, and we're 2 weeks into the new year, so we've missed a week of content already. But let's try and do better. We can actually go and be. You can hear it this time first around, at least from here, at least once per week. You should see me about some things about what's going on with financial literacy. But yeah, we are here. We made it to the new year. We thank God that we are entering into a new season, right? Doing new things and going into higher levels. So let's just talk about this really quick, and I'm not going to hold you guys for too long. I think that financial literacy is way more important than we make it out to be. It's more important, and it's affecting us in ways that we don't like to talk about. But it's affecting, like, your financial literacy is also going to affect like how much you're able to accumulate, like how much you're able to generate for yourself, like where you're putting your money, and all of this stuff matters because when it comes time to everything that you're going to be using your money for, where you are even living, where your children are going to school, everything like that, the things that we're actually going to work for, right? We need to be able to have a plan and strategy. And it's obvious to me now that the strategy they've given us is debt related, is debt focused, it's meant to stimulate the economy supposedly, and those supposedly things, those theoretical things that people from economic backgrounds, financial backgrounds are doing all over the United States is flawed, right? And it's the reason as to why, if you listen to a lot of these business consultants or people who talk about finances and people who do teaching, right? People like Dave Ramsey, 80% of businesses fail in the richest country in the world, and most of it is because of financial issues. It's because of cash flow issues. It's because of money not being available, or when things go down, not being able to get more credit and stuff like that. And the credit mindset is that you can get some and you can navigate through things and you pay back plus interest after you make it into profit. But it does not guarantee you that you will go into profit. It does not guarantee you even that you have the business acumen and the skill level to navigate through your business, which we need to be working on more than trying to accumulate all of these what they call savvy or sophisticated things, business credit and all these other things like that. I'm really down on credit. I'm negative on credit. I don't believe in what's going on over here. I have loans, and I'm not going to have loans anymore soon because I know different strategies that are better for your financial breakthrough, better for your financial life even. So what I would say is, right before you get out the loan, right, think about how many different ways you can get the money, right, without borrowing from somebody. The Bible says specifically that the borrower is a slave unto the lender. And I wonder as to why. What is it that we're missing? And I'm going to keep talking about this. But it means that you're not using your creative level. You're not spending your quiet time thinking about things, ways you can do without debt. You're not thinking about things as simple as even pooling your money together, which takes strategy because not everybody is reliable or resourceful. But you can at least make a business agreement with people who you can trust to be resourceful, reliable, responsible, right? And say, okay, we're going to group our money and we're going to do what people, investment groups are doing, in which case we're going to pull the money into a place that's going to go specifically into an investment that's meant to bring us return of investment. And we're going to split up the investment that we get equal parts into how many people are in the thing, or based on how much people are putting inside. That's a simple way to do things and accumulate money without debt. That's another way in which case you can do things without you saying, I want to borrow, get a credit card, business loan, business credit, and all of these things, equity on my house, and all of these things that are just debt, and other things. And there's also no payments involved. So we own it outright, even if we only own a piece of the pie. If everybody comes in, let's say there's a piece of pie and there's 8 pieces. If I get 8 people, we'll be able to consume the whole pie, right? So think about things outside of what you can do with your personal economy, and you having credit doesn't make you more independent. That's also a lie too. So there's a lot of lies that we're going to be addressing out this year. But my focus for this year is that, you know what, debt and this credit thing, I'm speaking openly against it. There's more than one strategy. We just talked about pulling your money with your resources and putting it into an investment group. That doesn't take any money. And people say, oh, I get a business loan and I use OPM, other people's money, to now start investing. That's irresponsible. You have not navigated how to do your own money, but now you want to invest somebody else's. You having the capital and having the ability or access to it doesn't mean that you have the savvy to navigate it. So that means let's focus on ways to navigate cash, ways you can use to also accumulate money as well. You can do your personal own business development events, right, by getting into the community and providing some level of service, right? Providing some level of service and charging a sensible fee such that people can get the service that they need from you, or knowledge. You can sell the knowledge that you have. right? You can have online platforms. So let's use this as a way. Now, what vehicles do I use once I figured out, okay, how to generate money without borrowing, right? There's 10,000 different things. I can be somebody who studies in the stock market. I'm not there yet. Or I can do options trading. I can do futures trading. I can do commodities. I can have a focus in the market, and I can follow things like trends, or I can follow things like charts that will allow me to figure out, okay, what's a sensible way, or what's a profitable way for me to enter and then also exit on a trade. I can do that short, I can do that long, but that's only one of the strategies. It's not everybody's going to be a stock analyst. Everybody has ways and things that they can do. Anything that you do, you can sell, right? And you can sell it honestly. You can get the appropriate licenses for the thing. Like if you're doing food, and you live in Maryland, you get your Maryland Foods Handlers and then your health certifications, and then you're legal to sell food. I'm saying to do things in a legal way. We've done this illegally when I was in school primarily. When I was in school at first time, it was one time me and a good friend of mine were selling water bottles, right? Why did we do that? Because in every city that I was in, I've seen people when it's hot outside wearing a white tank top, not a wife beater, right? A white tank top, and walking around with wads of cash in their hand. I figured they're just walking around in the street, doing something in the street. Normally selling Gatorade or water, right? In every city that I've been and lived in, I live in Maryland, so this is around the DC area, Maryland area. And these people, right, their picture's not all that great. They're walking around with water in their hand, but they had wads of cash in their other hand or in their pocket. So I said, we're gonna do this, right? We did this at school. I had just pulled out of school at that time. And by God's grace, that story is going to change when we get to that. But watch this, right? We went and we sold water bottles by the football stadium, which is at West Virginia University. And I was like, something? We don't have to be all that amazing at selling water. It's hot outside, and people want water. Now, we should have got the appropriate licenses to be on the street, but the police were friendly with us. We gave the police water, and we didn't charge them anything, and they at least allowed us. That could have been another situation, which means that would have been the navigation of the business, which would have been, figure out the appropriate licenses, permits, getting the right business structure, and then doing all of those things, right? But we didn't know that at the time. We're just trying to make money. So I said, what can we do to make money that we're not going to harm anybody? And we didn't want to sell drugs, so we figured out we could sell water. Water you can get at low price, and then you can go in and you can, what we call flip it. That we called ourselves the Flip Brothers, right? Flipperelli and Flip Chini, or whatever we were calling ourselves, right? But the whole idea is that we got something at a low price and we sold it, and it was water. We didn't research the topic. We didn't do everything. People need water. We sold water at a stadium where that particular stadium has 65,000 people coming into it. So even doesn't matter if we're able to get to everybody, if we're able to get to the few, and even if people tell us no, we're able to sell something at profit, which means that the bottles of water probably cost us somewhere around 40 cents per bottle, right? Or something like that. I'm sorry, 10 cents a bottle, 40 bottles, $4. I went up to, that time was Sam's Club up in that area, Morgantown, West Virginia. Went and got bottles, each got a couple packs of water. And what happened was we ran out of water so quickly, we had to now go to another place and get more water. So we said, the next time we come, we're gonna come a little bit prepared. We took some money that we used that day selling them for $2 a piece, right? Which put us into profit. Then we went and bought coolers. Each of us bought coolers for about $80 at the Sam's Club, right? We used the money to buy coolers so that we wouldn't have to come walking around with styrofoam coolers. We didn't have to be walking around with plastic totes, right? They didn't keep the water cold. Actually, they did, but the ice would melt. So we said we got coolers. We used the money that we used selling to get coolers. And this is $80 each of us. There was enough for us to each sell out of a case of water within a few minutes. It was crazy. It was within a few minutes, right? But the whole idea was we looked at something that people needed, right, that they would pay for. We put ourselves in a good position, and we had the energy to go out there and do it. We went out there in the heat ourselves. We put our shorts on, and everybody can get ice cold. That was the beginning of something, right? This is the concept. Find something that you can sell without going into debt, right? That can be information. It could be an artistic thing. It could be your talents. It could be food. My wife is really good at cooking. She should sell food, by the way. And now she's there moving around, so I know she can hear me. But in any case, right, that's one thing that you can do. Now, once you get the money, right, you can get it into insurance. You can get it into market play. You can get it into real estate, which I don't recommend until you find enough cash to buy something what I do recommend is using your friends, your network, right? Investor groups, right? To get a piece of something that you can afford 100% without borrowing anything, right? This is now saying, okay, the credit is a lie, but I'm not going to keep on listening to the lie. I'm not going to keep on walking with the lie. I'm not going to keep on using the lie. It doesn't help me. Once I've identified it as a poison, I don't have to keep on inhaling or ingesting the thing. Now I have to switch up my strategy. So let's switch it up for 2026. More stuff coming soon. Thank you guys so much for listening today. You do not need, I'm telling you, you do not need credit to run your business. You don't need credit to run your household. You don't need credit to run your life. You can do things with cash, and cash, right? In every country that you can imagine, right? Whatever you can use credit for, you can use cash for. It just takes a little bit of strategy and a little bit of time figuring out what it is that you're going to do, but I know that we can do it. God bless you, and thank you so much for Prosperous Financial.